This tutorial is on starting a new AutoCAD drawing. First thing we do is go to our AutoCAD icon on our desktop and we'll double click that, and that launches our program. Now we're open to the AutoCAD user interface, and you can see that from this area there's several functions that we can do here. What we want to do is start a new AutoCAD drawing, and we'll do that by going to the application menu, which is the red A in the upper left hand corner, and we will select new. If it's the first time you've opened the program, you're going to get this select a template dialog box, and we'll choose the AutoCAD drawing template and we'll click open. You can see that we now have a AutoCAD drawing session opened, and it's titled Drawing 1. That's a default AutoCAD drawing name. You'll see it, drawing followed by a number. And up here in the address bar, you'll see drawing1.dwg. That's the default drawing name, followed by .dwg, which is the text extension for an AutoCAD drawing file. So the first thing that we want to do is do a save as. That allows us to give our drawing file a name and save it to a known location, with known being the key. That means we can find it again when we want to go to reopen our drawing file. And we'll do this by going back to our application menu and selecting Save As, and we want a drawing file. Click on that, and that opens up our Save Drawing As dialog box. The first thing we'll look at here is the Save In field. We have a drop down arrow, and this allows us to navigate to the location we want to save our drawing file. If you're in the classroom, this is where you'll see your flash drive listed in this area. In this case, I'm going to store mine in my documents. See, this shows my documents. This lists everything in my documents. So now that we've chosen a location, we'll come down here to File Name, and here you'll see our drawing1.dwg, right? Our default name. I'm going to click here, that'll select it, and this will allow me to give my drawing a new name, and I'll call it Example 5. Another thing we can look at here is files of type. You'll see it says AutoCAD 2013 drawing. That means we'll be saving this as an AutoCAD drawing file. 2016 still runs on the 2013 platform. We have a drop down arrow, and you'll see that there are quite a few different file types that we could save this as. Again, we'll go with the AutoCAD 2013 drawing file, and I will click Save. What you'll see now is my Drawing tab now shows the name that I gave my file, Example 5, and this is also reflected up in our address bar with Example 5.dwg. So one of the key important things of doing the Save As right away before we start drawing is that once we've done that, it allows us to do periodic saves, meaning saving our work back to the drawing file so that we don't lose our work, say in case your computer crashes or something like that. And we can come back to our application menu here, and we have a save function right here. I'd click on that. We would also note that up in our Quick Tools area up here, there's a save icon, and as well right next to that there's a Save As icon. I could have initiated that Save As from here as well. And another way that we'll look at for saving is we can do it from the keyboard. You'll see at the command prompt, I'll type Control, I'll hold down Control, and at the same time hold down S, and that initiates, you'll see at the command prompt, a Q save, Q being quick. This is a quick save. That's what it's referred to, and that saves your work back to the drawing file, again, preventing you from losing any work if something were to happen, like I said, a crash or a brownout with the electrical or something like that. So that's a habit that you definitely want to get in right away here, is doing that. Anytime you complete any kind of substantial amount of work, part of your work routine or habit should be to go ahead and end that piece of work with one of the ways to save. Do a save. So now that we have that done, the next thing we want to set up here is we want to set our drawing limits. The drawing limits are the size of the on-screen drafting area. The default size is 12 units by 9 units, or 12 inches by 9 inches. And that's a fairly small drawing area. What you'll find with that is when you're zooming or panning your work, you'll hit what I call the zoom wall, and it's not going to let you zoom in or out as far as you might want to, or pan as far around on screen as you might want to. It'll get stuck, so to speak. And so what we'll do to prevent that kind of stuff is we're going to set our limits. We'll go to the command prompt and type limits, hit enter, and now you'll see that it says limits, specify lower left corner, and by default it gives us a choice to accept, hit enter and accept 0, 0, with 0, 0 being the intersection of the XY grid. It asked me to specify our lower left corner because the way that we assign our limits, or the size of our drawing area, is by defining a rectangle, and we do that by giving AutoCAD a lower left corner and an upper right hand corner. So in this case, I'm going to accept the 0, 0 for the lower left corner of my rectangle. I'll hit enter, and now you'll see that it's asking me to specify the upper right corner, and here you'll see that 12 by 9 that I was talking about is the default drawing area size. I'll type 300, 300, and what that's telling AutoCAD to do is to start at our 0, 0 here and go over 300 units in the X and 300 units in the Y, and that will define our rectangular drawing area with the 300 by 300 units. And I'll hit enter to set that. And what we want to do is, after we define our limits, we want to do a zoom all and a zoom extents, and that cycles the drawing file through the new limits that we've assigned it. And we'll do that by coming over to the navigation bar here, and we have a zoom icon with a drop down. Gives me some zoom choices. I'll select first zoom all. That sends the drawing area out to that 300 by 300. It sends it out to the full size of its limits. And now I'll come in and select a zoom extents, which brings it back to right down to nothing in this case, because a zoom extents, what it does, it will set your graphics that you have drawn. It's like a fit to screen, and since we have no graphics drawn, it just brings it back to nothing. So in effect, it cycles the drawing file through the limits that we've sets it in that file. So with all that, and there's one other way that we could do a zoom extent, a zoom all and a zoom extents. We could do it from the keyboard. I could go Z enter, and you can see that brings up my zoom tools, and we have an all function right here, and the extents function is here. I can click on these gray swatches just as I can inside of any command at the command prompt with additional functionality. I can click on these swatches, or I can also go A enter, which will select this all, A for all, and now I could go Z enter, brings me back into the zoom command, and I could go E enter because that's the capitalized letter here, E enter, and that just initiated a zoom extents. So with that completed, now we're ready to draw. And it's important to note that, because when we're just starting out, it's kind of our instinct to, open the program and then just go straight into drawing. But as you can see from doing this, it's really important to go through these steps before we do our drawing, so that we can, for one, we want to get to where we can get a start to scratch, so that we can set our own parameters and things inside of the program, and that's stuff that we'll look at in upcoming lessons. And we want to do a save as, which that's something we want to do first in any computer program that we're working with. When we start a new file, we immediately do a save as, so that we can periodically save our work as we're going, which will prevent us from losing our work. And then in our drawing file here, we set the limits to give us an appropriate drawing size for the project we're working on. So watch this as many times as you need to, so that you can get really familiar with all these concepts and read through the paper that goes along with it.